Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's really great to be with you this afternoon for me, or this evening or morning, wherever you are watching this from. Today, we have Angie Carrillo, who is currently in Peru, and she is a serial creator and an entrepreneur and speaker. And you can also see some of the amazing other people that we are going to be having on the show coming up in the coming weeks. So, Angie, it is really great to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Kevin, for being here.
Perfect, perfect. So, Angie's going to be speaking about a few topics which center around flow. If you have any questions that you want to ask during the call today, please do put those in the chat wherever you are watching this, in the comments. That'll be great. So, Angie, if you could just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and then also how you came across the OpenExO community.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've built businesses in Silicon Valley and around the world. I like really creating, right? So I'm a content creator, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also an ambassador for OpenExO. I came to OpenExO around early 2019 when I was invited to join as an ambassador. And yeah, well, I've seen how OpenExO went from being an online community to now build a sustainable business model for themselves. So it's great to be here. And today I really want to talk to you about how we can build a company from flow and what this flow word means. Because I think that there's so many business models. There's so many options for building a company. And we have to take into account our own personality and the skill set that we have, and what are the tasks that will drive us into the zone or flow.
So can you give us a bit of an understanding of what you mean by flow?
Yes, of course. So flow, actually, it's a term coined by Mihail Csikszentmihalyi, which is a famous psychologist. And what he tells is that is this state of consciousness where we act and we perform our best. So he has done a lot of work and a lot of research, and with this, we can understand a little bit more about our consciousness. So if we can work from a consciousness level, that it will drive us into the zone, into the moment in time where we don't feel time, we don't feel hungry, where we are just absorbed in one with the task that we're doing, then that's where we can actually become more productive and we can do more things.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, obviously everyone wants to be in that state of flow, right? Where things just happen without you even almost realizing it. But how can the people who are listening in and watching actually get into that state of flow?
Well, one of the things that I was thinking is that's a great question, but by watching us, nobody will be able to tap into flow. Because when you're watching something, when you're watching Netflix, the TV, YouTube, whatever, you're actually bringing so many inputs to your brain. You're tapping into a brain state that is generating more of the beta brain waves. And I'll explain that in a bit, of how many brain waves do we have, what are the simplified ways. But what you're doing really is that you're consuming content, and it wouldn't allow your brain to put yourself into the creator mode, right? So when you're in flow state and you're creating, then that's a better way to do some work from there, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so if people, we really believe that people need to be, building EXOs, right? Building organizations that are built for the 21st century, as to organizations that are more, old school. So what would you say is the best way to be building those from that state of flow versus, you know, a state of non-flow, or whatever that would be called?
Or it could be burnout, right? Like the burnout, the stress. That's something very present when you are building your own company. So I've started multiple companies. I started a profitable business and a venture-backed startup. And I understand what these different types of business models could be. And actually, it really requires a lot of you, a lot of your energy, a lot of your work, and a lot of your time to build any type of business. So either if you're building an EXO or you're building a brick and mortar business, it will require the same amount of energy from you. So to understand how we can tap into flow, I think we have to understand a little bit how our brain works and how our cycles, internal cycles of our body also work. Especially if you're a woman, then we have a very notorious cycle that is the menstrual cycle. But if you are a man, then you would also have some cycles, but we don't know about them because we cannot see them. So one of the things that I really like and I've been diving into this year has been tracking my brainwaves. So oversimplifying it, we have 5 types of brainwaves. We have beta when we're awake, when we're alert, when we're thinking constantly, when we're maybe doing some problem solving. And we have alpha when we are physically and mentally relaxed. This could be a meditation, this could be dancing, this could be different things that will take us to an alpha brainwave majority in our brain. So then we also have theta, that is the third one, when we are creative or when we're in deep meditation. And we have gamma when we're problem solving, when we're learning something new. We can tap into gamma. Then we also have delta when we're in deep sleep and our body recovers. But what happens with most people? We're working, and right now we don't have that difference between work and home office or work and office, right? Like, or work and home. So there's no difference. So what it could be happening for them is that there's not a clear boundary in where your work starts and where your day starts, right? And this has happened to a lot of people right now during the changes that we are right now happening. But the thing is that if you're not allowing yourself to rest and to tap into these theta, gamma, delta brainwaves more, that is what your body really needs to recover, then you will be forever in a state of stress and overwhelm, and eventually will burn out. And the thing is that what I want to touch this is because while we're creating an open, when we create an EXO, when we're creating an exponential organization, it will require a lot of work, but there's a lot of concept over social media that to create a bold, big company that will have a big vision, you have to work very hard and you have to hustle. And there's a time and place for you to work, and there's a time and place for you to hustle. But there's this misconception, right? That hard work is the only thing that it will take. When I think that it's smart, what it would really drive you to the best results.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Angie, your connection has got a little bit choppy. So at the end there, you became a little bit robotic, but we did hear exactly what you said. So in terms of those different brainwaves, how are you measuring your brainwaves? And what can people do to try and understand that more? Because if we don't realize that we're always in those, beta brainwaves or whatever, and we're not giving ourselves that rest time, we're not ever getting into that creative brainwave. How do we know that?
Actually, I think that we don't need, a tracker like the one that I have. I use one thing called Muse that is actually for tracking meditation, but I use it with a different app. So I don't use it with the Muse app, because what the Muse app only allows you is to track the meditation and if you're relaxed or not. So I use it with another app called, let me just tell you, Mind Monitor, and it will allow you to turn that wearable into these different types of brainwaves. So you can know, okay, so I'm in beta, I am in gamma, or I'm in delta. But the thing is that we know when we are feeling the stress. We know when we are feeling relaxed. You don't need a wearable to tell you this unless you are very geeky like me. But when you are in flow, one of the greatest things that it will allow you to tell, am I in flow or not, is if you don't feel hungry, if you don't feel the time, if you're just one with the activity. And this could be different activities for different people. Like for me, it could be writing. For you, it could be talking. And having this show, maybe it would be a great ability for you to develop and, like tap into flow more and do it part of your work. So what I really want to invite is founders, is people that are in the EXO community to be more productive and tapping more into these activities. So the thing is that if you have, as a founder of an EXO, if you have different tasks, right? You have maybe copywriting that you have to do. You have a marketing design that you have to put up for the webinar that you might be doing. Then all these little tasks, instead of doing them in a different order, you can do it in an order that will allow you to go into that flow cycle. So if you first are in beta, like you are actually thinking, you're like a conscious person would be thinking normal, but then you do another activity that will relax you. That other activity that will relax you, in my case, is meditation. It could drive you directly into the next activity that you have to do, that it will allow you to be in flow. And after that, if you recover, then that means that you are creating this cycle that is natural for the body, but you're creating within your workday. So that's what I really like helping founders with, because this is something that we need to tap more into.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So many of us, like you say, believe that, it's just going to require a lot of hard work, and it does require hard work, to run an EXO. It's not just a walk in the park, but having that understanding of what you can do to reduce stress and be more in flow is so important. Now, you mentioned meditation. What sort of meditation do you think works for you, and what would you recommend for others? Are you doing small meditations throughout the day? What are you doing?
So so meditation for me, it's a tool that will allow me to tap into flow, right? I don't use meditation as an end of itself. It's just a tool for me to tap into something else that I can work from this other state, right? So what I do is when I first wake up, I meditate. And then that would allow me to do some part of more of my creative work in the morning. But then, like things you have to eat, you have to do other things, right? And then there's other activities will take you out from flow, right? And after that, it's important that we have a rest. We have, maybe it doesn't have to be napping, but doing some other activity and changing your brain state, it's very useful for that. So during the whole day, what I do is I try to plan like that my day before going into creative work. If it's not in the morning and if it's in the middle of the afternoon, I will do a short meditation. So it could help me drive into that next activity. But for people that they don't like meditation, it could be running, it could be some other activity, it could be painting, it could be doing mandalas or whatever. Like, the thing is that you have to understand that there's one activity that will help you to just be one with that. And if you do it for 30 minutes, and if you put the 30 minutes on that activity, actually you will be gaining more by working from this other state that you're just super focused, super productive, and you're in your best moment to do some work at that time.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. We've got a question here from Curtis, who's saying that what do you think about the rising phenomenon of coloring books for adults? I'm finding them very flowery. Flowery. So I guess Curtis is saying that he finds that they get him into flow. It's not about painting flowers. What is your thinking around these coloring books for adults?
Yeah, so these coloring books, it's like a meditation work. So if you do this coloring book, and then this will allow you to be more creative, to put your brain with the right juices so you can do some creative work, then do that. But what happens if you use your coloring book and then you start doing the finance work? So you're stimulated your right side of the brain, and you are doing some left side of the brain afterwards. So that's what planning your day with having some creative work, and then having something that will allow you, if you have to do emails, if you have to type your email newsletter or something right after doing your coloring book, then that would be more productive than doing your finances after doing your coloring book. But doing your finances is also a very important task that you have to do. But for that, you have to be on beta brainwave, because you have to use your prefrontal cortex and making the decisions at that time. So it's all about planning. So I would do my finance first, then I would go into meditation or coloring book, or even like there's a study on ASMR, like those sounds and
yes,
those things.
yes.
Those things also work like meditation. And after that, then I would do some creative work. So that's, for example, like how moving from beta to alpha to a theta brainwave. So you're moving with the natural flow of your brain just by planning things better. But if you plan things to, like in a different order, then it might disturb your brain as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, Curtis is asking another question just around, audio or sound that can induce brain states of flow. I know I use music that's at certain frequencies to try and improve my flow. But the question is Angie, is how do we improve flow when we are trying to do the finances, the things we don't like? Is that possible? Should we just not be doing those tasks? Obviously, there's certain tasks we have to do, but what's your thinking there? Like there's certain tasks that you just never get into flow with?
Well, there are certain tasks that they need to be done, right? And at the beginning of any EXO, like maybe you won't be able to have a huge team to just outsource all of them. But it's important that you realize what are the flow activities that will take you there. So for example, my mom, she's an accountant. She used to work for the government. Finances will drive her into flow because this is something that she loved doing, like programming, doing things. And, there's one activity for each person. So if for you, maybe doing the finances is not, for me, it's creating, writing, doing graphics, doing painting. For me, it's more of a creative thing. But if for you, driving into flow, it's something else, like it's important that we all work from our genius zone, because this is where we just destroy our life and just give away into pushing through the activities that are not meant for us to do best, right? When there's another activity that for someone else, that would be the perfect activity for them to tap into that.
No, absolutely. And like you say, like at the beginning, there is maybe stuff that you have to do that you don't love. But ultimately, we should all be focusing on like you say, our genius, our strengths, versus trying to push through things that we just aren't good at, or we don't find flow in.
Yeah, so talking also about the music, the binaural network, like the binaural beats that we can hear. There's Brain FM. There is Kelly Rowell, that she also has some very good meditations and music that you would just put, and it will help you. It would help you be more focused in that task at that time. So those are the things, but it's important to do the self-awareness, to know ourselves, to know our why before creating this EXO, or while creating this EXO. It's important to get to know ourselves better. So yeah, I would definitely recommend everybody to just be aware. Oh, this is the task for me. These are the things that I want to be doing, or this is not something that comes naturally for me. And instead of pushing through, like, you can outsource very cheap people doing certain things that maybe are not your best on Fiverr or Upwork or those things. So that's one of the key attributes that also the EXO model has, right? That it's
yeah, absolutely. I mean, leverage staff on demand when you can, for sure. Angie, it's been really great chatting to you, and I think we could speak about so many other topics as well, around running your side hustle and building businesses like you have done. But we have sort of come to the end of our time. Is there anything that you would like to share as you end off today, with those that are watching?
Yes, of course. So I'm preparing a lot of resources that they could be found on my website. So that's www.angiecarrillo.com. Carrillo, it's with double R and double L. So make sure to connect over there, or connect in any other social media as Angie Carrillo as well. And I will be happy to talk more with anybody about, like the flow and how we can build businesses from our strengths.
Perfect. Well, Angie, thank you so much for joining us on OpenExO Live, and we'll chat to you again soon. Bye-bye. So that was Angie Carrillo. Do head over to her website to find out more about what she does, and follow her on social media. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Please do join me again next week when we're speaking to Paul Epping. But otherwise, we'll end off just with a little bit about our digital replay from EXO World. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day wherever you are.